What happens when the person who makes you feel seen is actually studying how to break you? This is the story of a 19-year-old girl who fell for a man 3 times her age, discovered she was just one of many, and chose to rise instead of fall apart. Sometimes the quietest revenge is the loudest victory. My name is Eva, and I am going to tell you a story that changed my life forever. It is not an easy story to share, and even now, my hands shake a little when I think about those dark days. But I believe my story matters because somewhere out there, another girl is going through the same pain I went through. She feels alone and confused and broken, just like I did. So this story is for her, and it is for every woman who ever gave her heart to the wrong person and blamed herself for everything that went wrong. I grew up in a small apartment in Boston with my mother, who worked 2 jobs just to keep food on our table. My father left when I was 7 years old, and he never came back. I spent my whole childhood wondering what was so wrong with me that my own father didn't want to stay. That question followed me everywhere like a dark shadow, and it made me desperate for love and attention from anyone who would give it to me. I was shy, quiet, and always felt like I was on the outside looking in at everyone else's happiness. Now, let me take you back to the day everything changed. I was 19 years old, still trying to figure out who I was and where I belonged in this big, scary world. It was raining in Boston that afternoon, one of those soft, gentle rains that makes the city feel slower and more peaceful. I was sitting alone in a bookstore cafe, holding a book in my hands and pretending to read the words on the page. But the truth is, I wasn't really reading at all. I was feeling completely invisible, like I could disappear from that chair and nobody would even notice I was gone. That was when his book touched mine, and I looked up into the eyes of a man who would turn my whole world upside down. His name was Mark Crow, and he looked at me with these calm, knowing eyes that made my heart beat faster. He said to me in the softest voice, "You are reading Sylvia Plath. That tells me you feel things very deeply." I swear to you, nobody had ever spoken to me like that before. It felt like he could see the real me, the me I kept hidden from everyone else in my life. Mark was 58 years old, 3 times my age, and he dressed nicely and spoke carefully about everything. But here is the thing that really got me hooked on him. He did not look at my body the way other men always did. He looked at my thoughts and my ideas like they actually mattered to him. He made me feel smart and interesting and special. And that, my friends, is exactly how he won my complete trust. Mark never rushed anything between us, and I thought that meant he respected me deeply. He did not flirt with me in a pushy way or try to touch me or say anything that made me feel uncomfortable. He just listened to me like I was the most important person in the world. He asked me about my childhood, my fears, and why I always felt older and lonelier than other girls my age. One evening, he said something that changed the way I saw myself completely. He told me, "You are not like other girls your age, Eva. You observe things, you think deeply, you have a beautiful soul that most people will never understand." Those words wrapped around my heart like a warm hug on a cold night. I started choosing my words carefully around him because I wanted so badly to be the amazing person he thought I was. Looking back now, I understand that this was the first trap I walked into without knowing it. Our conversations became everything to me very quickly. I woke up every morning waiting for his sweet good morning messages. I lived for our long phone calls in the evening and our deep talks late at night about love and trust and honesty. He talked about commitment like it was a rare and precious thing. When he told me, "I do not let people into my heart easily, but I trust you completely," I felt like the most special girl in the whole world. My heart was so full of happiness that I thought it might burst. I told him secrets I had never shared with anyone before. I told him how scared I was of being left behind by everyone I loved. I told him how much I needed to feel seen and valued by someone. I told him that silence and loneliness scared me more than anything else. And he remembered everything about me perfectly. Every date, every little thing I said, every small moment we shared together. I really believed this meant he loved me with his whole heart. But the sad truth is, he was not loving me at all. He was studying me carefully, learning all my weaknesses, figuring out exactly how to control me. The strange thing is, Mark never told me to stop seeing my friends. He was too smart for that. But after talking with him, conversations with my friends started feeling empty and boring. Laughing with people my age felt fake and meaningless. He did not separate me from others physically. He separated me from them emotionally. And I did not even see it happening until it was too late. When I finally trusted him completely, everything started to change in confusing ways. Some days he was warm and loving, and other days he was cold and distant. When I asked him what was wrong, he made me feel silly for asking. He said, "Real love is not about needing constant attention, Eva. Being too attached destroys real connection." And because I was so deep under his control, I believed every word he said. The moment I started really needing him was the exact moment he started pulling away from me. One night, I asked him a simple question that came from my heart. I said, "Where do I stand in your life, Mark?" That question scared him because it meant I wanted something real from him. And Mark never wanted anything real. He wanted to control me without being responsible for my feelings. Then came the message that broke me into a million pieces. It was from a woman named Margaret, and she told me to stay away from her fiancé. She sent me proof that Mark had said the same beautiful words to many other girls before me. Her last message destroyed my heart completely. She said, "You were never special. He does this to girls like you all the time." For weeks after that, I could not eat or sleep. I kept asking myself what I did wrong, but slowly the pain in my heart cleared my mind. I started looking for answers instead of blaming myself. I reached out to other women Mark had hurt. Some of them cried when we talked. Some of them were angry. Some had kept this pain inside for years. Together, we collected proof of what he had done to all of us. I sent everything to Margaret, and she ended her engagement quietly. Mark lost his good name, his reputation, and his control over everyone. Years later, I went back to that same bookstore cafe on a rainy afternoon, but this time I was not waiting for someone to choose me. I had written a book about surviving pain and choosing yourself. The first page said, "To every woman who thought manipulation was love and finally chose herself instead." Mark never talked to me again, but I know he searched my name years later. He needed to know if I survived or if I broke apart like all the others. But I did more than survive. I became completely untouchable to the man who tried to own my soul. And that was the greatest victory of all. Thanks for listening to my story. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and tell me where you're listening from.